The fact is, the harm done to a sexually abused child doesn't stop when he or she becomes an adult. We know from talking to our clients in these cases and other sex abuse cases in schools and workplaces and churches that sex abuse of a child creates a permanent hole in the survivor's life, a hole that doesn't go away. It's a harm, it's a damage that lurks there, waiting to be awakened. No matter how strong the survivor is, no matter how successful he or she is, some trigger, some memory, some event that might happen in the news will bring all the damage flooding back and disrupting the person's life horribly. Our clients in these cases have told us about their experience with drug addiction, mental health issues, family disruption, the inability to work, inability to socialize with people, sometimes even after years of apparently successful life. It's a cliche that the cover-up is worse than the crime. But in these cases, the cover-up is part of the crime. The cover-up is part of what does damage to our clients and other survivors of child abuse. It's the cover-up that makes them unable to tell their stories. It makes them believe that they won't be believed if they come forward with their stories. It tells them that no one cares about their problems. The Catholic Church engaged in an unbelievable cover-up of sex abuse, yes, and throughout the world, really, but especially in Pennsylvania. As the Attorney General's grand jury report confirmed. For me personally, as somebody who grew up in the church, it's really painful to see what that institution has done. Not only to enable pedophiles and predatory priests to abuse children, but to cover it up for decades, to justify it, to rationalize it, to pretend it's not there, to even tell victims that the problem was taken care of when we now know it wasn't. And we know that the church's activities made the problems worse. It wasn't just the predatory, sick priests who abused children. It was the hierarchy of the church itself. You know, when you grow up Catholic, you're taught a very important principle, repentance and atonement for sins in this life. But that's a principle that has to apply to institutions as well as to individuals. Right now, it's time for the institutional church, the hierarchy, to atone for the harm that's been done to our clients and other victims of clergy abuse throughout the years. And there's only one way that institution can atone, by telling the victims the truth in a courtroom if necessary, and by compensating those victims. Now, let's be clear about something else. It's an absolute disgrace that the legislature of Pennsylvania has for so long resisted expanding the statute of limitations to permit survivors of priest abuse to bring lawsuits now, at the time when the full extent of the wrongdoing, the nature of the wrongdoing, and what actually happened is finally beginning to be revealed. It's a disgrace that they haven't opened up a window for justice. But unfortunately, maybe for the hierarchy of the church, there are some victims who are still young enough to be able to bring their claims even under the antiquated statute of limitations we have right now. And those suits, some of which we're bringing, and other suits that will be brought for people who will be asserting the way in which the church deceived them over all these years. Those suits will open up a window in a different way, a window under the truth. And those suits will have the power of the courts to bring out the facts that have been hidden and the documents that confirm those facts that have been hidden for years.